Welcome to Wayne County Connection. I'm your host, Michael Swiegart. Thank you for joining me again for another episode where we promote Wayne County as a great place to work, live, and play. We invite you to do your part to make this great community even better and by getting connected with the agencies and individuals that we present today and that have been on the program previously. You can find out more information about today's program and prior programs by visiting our website at waynet.org/cc. There you'll find links to today's program, the resources that are available, and also ways to share the program with viewers who don't get the program on cable television. You can view this program on demand and streaming through Whitewater Community Television website, and you can find more information here at our website, waynet.org/cc. Again, we do encourage you to do your part to get connected and make Wayne County a great place to work, live, and play. And the calendar at waynet.org is another great way to do that. You can find out about the events that are going on in our communities and the ways that you can get connected there. Also, if you have an event that's going on, you can submit that to the calendar at waynet.org. Well, today's guest is no stranger to many of you. She is Cathy Williams, and she is a familiar face and a familiar name in Wayne County. She's been around for many years, but today she's coming to represent the Wayne Union Region's Solid Waste Management District. It's kind of a long title there. And Cathy is the Wayne County Council member on that board, and she's going to come and talk to us about that today. Cathy, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Michael. Good morning. I hope I can give some information to people that maybe they didn't know before. So thank you for having me.
Well, we're looking forward to it. I did mention that you're a familiar face and name, but there may be a few of our viewers who are not familiar with you, Cathy, and so I'm going to ask you to tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Okay, I have been in Wayne County government the past 15 years. I started in the treasurer's office as just a clerk, and then I ended up as the chief deputy, and then I was the treasurer the past eight years, and I was term limited, and so I was done in December of 2020, and what a way to go out, by the way. But anyway, I decided I have all the knowledge that I had of county government. I didn't want to just ride off into the sunset, but I was kind of ready to retire and not work 40 hours a week. So I ran for county council, and I was successful with that. So one of my duties on Wayne County Council is I serve on some of the boards. I serve on the WUR board. I serve on the Drug-Free Wayne County board and the Revolving Loan Fund board. So those were some additional things that I've been working on.
So you went from a 40-hour position in the government official to a 90-hour-a-week position as a council member.
That's what my husband said. I thought you were retiring, but this has actually been a lot more hours than I thought. But I look at it that people voted for me, and if this is what the job, takes, then that's what I'm going to do. And I've spent a lot of time on the WUR board, and as we will talk about, we've done a lot of things differently this year and kind of revamping, and it's not well known in the community or in the county, so we want to get our name back out there again. So it's been a lot more.
And that's a perfect lead in, because we've thrown around this Wayne Union Region Solid Waste thing, WUR board, and yes. There are probably many of our viewers who are confused, unfamiliar with that term. So please tell us a little bit more about what that organization is. Give us the 30,000-foot view of the Wayne Union Board.
So here's kind of a history, if you will. So back in the 1990s, the legislature decided that we should create solid waste management districts because they were fearful that the landfills were going to fill up with all the trash and this and that. So they created that those districts back in the 90s, and every county has to belong to one. And if you, for instance, Union County is smaller, if they wanted to join someone else's solid waste district, they were welcome to do so. So at that time, Wayne, Union, and Randolph decided that they would join together and have the solid waste management districts. But then over the years, Randolph managed to get their own landfill because they didn't have one when this started, or as I understand it, they didn't have one. And so they have now left our group because they have their own solid waste management district. And so that's kind of the way that it was created, if you will, and the purpose. And one of the things I do want to mention in this is by state statute, some of the things we are supposed to be watching or taking care of or trying to maintain, I'm not exactly sure what the correct word is waste tires, household hazardous waste, used oil, and white goods. And I'm new enough to this. I thought, what in the world is white goods? Well, white goods are like appliances, those type of things that people, as you get a new range, what are you going to do with the old ones? Some places will let you turn it into them for a fee, I'm sure, and others don't. So they wanted to make sure those things were taken care of and not put in the landfill. And actually, since that time, I think a large waste stream is the e-waste that we all have. And so those are some of the things that we try to work on. And in the past, I don't know, maybe the past several years, we've not had a lot of events to try and collect and take care of those things. So we have several new board members this year, myself being one, that we've decided, we're going to start working on doing something about those items there.
So by state statute, we're looking at some of the most toxic materials that enter landfills and making sure that we manage those in a way that, one, don't overwhelm the landfills, and two, protect our environment for the future generations.
Exactly. We want to leave our world better for the next generation. And if we don't start doing something, which is what they thought in the 90s, and they were hitting the nail on the head, it's going to be terrible for our children and grandchildren and great grandchildren. And so, that's sort of the way that was born, if you will.
So,
and some of the laws, though, I think need to be revamped, because just like the statute mentions those items, it doesn't mention the e-waste. So I don't think those laws have been amended or anything done with those in several years that I can find at any rate. But still, in the way the world has changed, everybody and their brother has water bottles these days, and soda cans and things that, as you drive around Wayne County roads, you see a lot of that stuff along the roadways. It's like, oh, what in the world, people? We need to be recycling. Plus, we need to quit littering. You don't want to see it along the roadways, for
Right.
heaven's sakes. But we could recycle a lot of that stuff. Not everything, obviously, but a lot of things. And so when the state created these things, the statutes, we also created transfer stations. So we have a transfer station, and I'm going to look at the address. It's Route 1 and Paul Folke Road in Hagerstown. And we also have one since we are now Wayne and Union, and Randolph has left us, but Wayne and Union, there's one at 1583 Kitchell Road in Liberty.
okay.
So when Randolph left us, I kind of back up a little bit here. We were Wayne, WUR, Wayne, Union, Randolph. And when they left, we just decided to leave it WUR, and it's Wayne Union Recycle. But at those transfer stations, I don't know about you, Michael, but I had no clue what a transfer station was. And I've lived here, in Indiana 30 some years, and it's like, what in the world? Well,
sounds like some place where you
apparently
change stations or change trains on a subway station or something.
Exactly. And my prior life was in logistics. So to me, I'm thinking you're talking about trucking or freight or something, but it's a place where the county residents can go and take their trash or recyclables. If you take the trash there, they will take it, and there's a fee for that. You'll have to check with them on the fee. If it's a recyclable item, and please do go there for that, you can take that, and that's free. Wayne County residents also can go to the Richmond Sanitary District for the recyclables. They will take those with no charge. I don't know about trash, but I do know they will take the recyclables. So you have those two locations plus the sanitary district for the recyclables. And when it comes to the transfer station, like you just pointed out and I said, the name doesn't really, to me, speak to trash or recycling or anything. So we've mentioned to the commissioners, and as it happens, we have one on our board that name really doesn't speak to what it does. So they are thinking about maybe changing the name of that to make it more user friendly, if that makes sense, to try to speak more to what they actually do there. And we're trying to revamp and get a new logo and get a strategic plan, get a new mission statement, try to make ourselves more relevant and more with what's going on in today's world, that you can see us out there and we're working and we're doing things. And when you have a question, you'll know where to go to find that information. So
Well, that brings us to a great point right now. As I've mentioned at the beginning of the program, and we do frequently, the whole program is about connection and making sure that our viewers can connect to our guests. And so I want to take a moment to just go over the connection modalities for us, and if you would mention the places we've got up on the screen right now, the website, but other ways that people can get information about the Solid Waste Management District.
So if they go to the website, the waste-not.org, we have a guidebook that our educator has created, and it gives you anything and everything you ever wanted to know about recycling in Wayne and Union County is in that guidebook. So if you just go to that website, you can find the information there. And if you have a question, you could call someone, you could call the transfer stations. I do know they will take e-waste, but there's a fee, I'm pretty sure, for that. So before you trot out there with your television, old television or cell phone, give them a call so that you know ahead of time what the fee is for that type of thing. And we also have a Facebook page, so we're trying to keep our name out there.
And on Facebook, it would be just search the WUR Solid Waste Management District, or?
Yes, yes. And then that guide, I believe, is there also. And we've had lots of people call and ask questions. Where do I take this? What do I do with this? And so on and so forth. And so I would start with that place. If you can't get it, you could always, I'm pretty sure there's a phone number there for our educator. You could call Luann and check with her. You could always call me. Find me at Wayne County. I have an email on the county website, so you could contact me and I could get the information. If someone needs something they don't find there, that would be fine.
Now, Cathy, I promise all of my guests that I don't ask any hardball questions, but I'm going to point something out because we kind of talked about it in the prep period, and you've mentioned it a lot as you've been describing the Solid Waste Management District, the transfer stations, and the programs and so forth. You've said, I'm not really sure, I don't really know, I'm still, and
yes, I'm new enough. Yes.
So you're new to this, and you, like many of our viewers, are learning about the WUR region right now and about what's going on in this region.
Yes.
So tell me one of the most surprising things that you've learned about solid waste management here in our area.
Probably that we should have been doing, collections and things more around the waste tires and the things that the statutes say, but in the last several years we've done nothing. So I'm not sure why that is. And one thing I will point out, because a lot of people do ask, this is not taxpayer money that funds this. We get $1 per ton at the sanitary district, the landfill, when people go and dump trash and construction things and so forth. So it's from that and from grants that we get from the federal government and state grants that help. For instance, when we do the hazmat and we do the tox away days, we can get grants that will help fund that to pay for that. Because when we have those events and those collections, they just don't do those for free. We end up paying the fee for those things, but that's why we are created. So just the fact that we are to be doing some of those things and haven't been for a while. They did do them in the past, but the last few years we have not. So want to get back on track.
So one of the things that we've talked about in previous episodes, we've talked about recycling either in Richmond specific or in Wayne County. We had Luann Haliva, the educator from the WUR board, there talking about recycling in the area a couple of years ago, 2.5 years ago, I think. And so feel free to look that program up on our website as well, viewers. But
Yes.
one of the obstacles that we see to recycling in general is that there doesn't seem to be a lot of payback. And there are a lot of things that you would think would be recyclable because it's plastic, but it's not accepted by anybody for recycling purposes because of the type of plastic that it is. Right. And so it seems like sometimes as a consumer, it's difficult to get engaged in recycling because things that you want to put in to keep them out of the landfill, to be reused, repurposed or whatever, there's no method for that. There's no pathway for that. And so what are the ways that we can learn what's good to be recycled and what do we have to do with the rest of it?
So what I can tell you about recycling in general, I'm going to back up a little bit here, is what I have found with most people, and whatever you're doing, if you make it convenient, people are more apt to do it. Whatever it is, if it's convenient, you're more apt to do it, and then you get in the habit of doing that and so forth. And then that's how you end up being good at recycling, I think. Now, some of the items that you can do, and I've got a cheat sheet here, I'm going to look back at my little notes. We take that you can recycle as steel and aluminum cans, plastics or plastic containers #1 and #2 only, newspapers, cardboard, glass bottles, and jars. Now, how you know a #1 from a #2 from a number whatever plastics, I believe they are marked on the bottom of the container. But again, I'm still learning, but I think that's the thing. But I think if a lot of people just started with water bottles, to me, water bottles are the big one. And they probably aren't, but I see that with a lot of people, the water bottles and the kids and the athletes and all of those big functions. So if we could start somehow with just water bottles and soda and beer cans and that type of thing, and just even if we could get those two items out of the landfill, I think that would be a huge win. So I think that, just start with that, but trying to make that convenient, especially if you're on the road or you're driving into the grocery or whatever, finding a place. So we're trying to come up with how could we do that, countywide for Wayne and Union County, and just even collect those things. So we're looking for suggestions. So anybody listening has a great one, that would be wonderful. Please share. More minds are better than just 2 or 3. So
again, you've mentioned so many things here, and I'm just brimming with questions, but you're so full of information, it's hard to get all of them in. But one of the things that you mentioned right before we went on the program was a board position for citizens, and,
yes.
And you mentioned
we have
just
a citizens advisory group, and to my knowledge, anyone could join that. We have a meeting on the second Wednesday of the month at 8:30 in the Annex building in Richmond, and we have a couple of people that serve on that board currently. Dwayne Chris from Indiana American Water has joined us, and we are so thankful for him because he also has when we've had our events, they have donated and brought the cones and the vests for the people, when we drive through and do those collections. So that's been wonderful to have a volunteer and somebody to come and help and give us their 2 cents worth on recycling and what we could do. And then we were contacted by the Cope Environmental Center, and I believe they are going to join us also. They would like to partner with WUR and work on some recycling events. So that's a great thing. So the more people hear about us that really want to do the right thing for our world, if you will, and when it comes to the recycling and so forth, that's what we want to do. So we're just proceeding that way. And if you would like, I would like to at least share with some of your viewers some of the things that we have done this past year.
Absolutely. That was where I was going next. You've talked about a lot of things that went on. You've mentioned events several times and some ramping up and repurposing of the program modalities there. And so I'd like to ask you, for those viewers who may have missed it, what are the events that you've held recently, and then what are you looking forward to as we move forward in 2022 and beyond?
So here are the ones that so far this year we have done, and I think this is all we will get done for 2021. We had a paper shredding event at Reed's New Pace Center on the west side of Richmond. They partnered with us and Crow Shredding, and I believe we got almost 10,000 pounds of paper there. And then that was in June, and then in October, we had several things. We partnered with Seton High School here in Richmond, and we had an e-waste collection there. And we collected almost 10,000 pounds of e-waste and 58 televisions, monitors that people paid for those and got rid of those. The other items WUR paid for, but the TVs, we felt like people could pay the $20 fee to have those recycled, and everybody, you know, for the most part was glad to do that and get those things out of their garages and so forth. That same day, we also partnered with the Union County Purdue Extension Office down at the fairgrounds in Liberty, and we got about 4,200 pounds of recyclables in 2 hours. So it was great, and
Wow.
22 TVs, monitors from them. And we partnered with Tech Recyclers in Indianapolis, and they were fabulous. We went from one location to the other, so it worked out really well. And we ended up with 2 trucks that we filled, so that was great. And then October 23rd, this was our biggie. October 23rd, we partnered with all the local school districts in Wayne and Union County. So all of them worked with us. We used their parking lot. A lot of them provided students that needed community service hours, and we collected used tires. And it was wonderful. It was a lot of work getting everything together, but we had so many people that donated things to us. The recycling center was wonderful, Richmond Sanitary District. I mean, it just goes on, and I hate not to mention everybody, but everybody that donated it was just great. And we got 908 tires for almost, I think it was 24,000 pounds that we collected on that day. So WUR will totally pay for that. But the schools helping was a big thing. They were all about the recycling, and they were helping, and it was great. And we had a lot of adult volunteers that came. The Spur group provided us some volunteers, and then there was a group in Cambridge City that their town people came and helped at Western Wayne, and it was just wonderful. So it was nice to partner with all those folks. And what we hope will happen is next year that we can do, you know, these 3 again, plus have the household hazmat. We have applied for a grant for that. We haven't gotten the results of that application yet. Hopefully we will win that grant. And then I'm hoping that next year we would have twice a year, along with the e-waste twice a year. But I don't know for sure.
Well, Cathy, we've taken up most of our program. We're coming to the last few minutes of our program, and you have mentioned so much that's going on. One of the things that I've taken note of during the program today is your enthusiasm. You seem to be very excited about this particular part of the role that you have now in Wayne County and with promoting solid waste management here in our community. You mentioned a couple of times, it sounds like one of your pet peeves, the trash along the roadways, especially the recyclable trash, specifically water bottles and beverage cans and so forth, that we would like to see end up in recycling bins, not along the roadway, if not in recycling bins, at least in the trash, because that does make Wayne County a more attractive location. One of the things that you mentioned that we're not really going to have time to get into now, but I would encourage our viewers to follow up with, is the idea of making Wayne County attractive to young professionals who may be looking to Wayne County as a place to locate, and the availability of recycling and other environmental concern management policies and practices that they expect in other communities. And you talked a little bit about that when we were prepping for the show, and I know that that's one of your favorite topics here as it relates to this particular issue. So I would encourage our viewers to get in touch with you, and let's revamp again or revisit again the ways to get in touch with you and with the WUR Solid Waste Management District.
So if you want to get in touch with me, you can go to the Wayne County website under County Council. My email should be there, and I'm on my email every day, so that would be great. Or you can get a hold of, look at the WUR website. There's information there. And, if someone would be interested in coming to the Citizens Advisory Board, for that group, that would be wonderful. You don't have to come every meeting, but if you have some ideas, come and bring those. We're always glad to hear those. And by the way, we did do, and I forgot to mention, a billboard campaign on littering back in September. So thank you for mentioning that. We put billboards up to try to say, littering is not cool. Please recycle, and try to get people on board with that.
Right. And you mentioned a couple of times groups and schools in particular, and I'm familiar with green clubs or other environmental groups that are in the schools. And if they're interested, either a school group or a community group is interested in learning more about this, Luann Haliva is an educator that's available for some of those programming.
Yes, and getting a hold of Luann would be a great thing. She goes to most of the schools to do recycling education. And now that you've said that, at Centerville, it was their Green Club that came and helped do the tire program. So several of them had kids from other groups that came, and we would welcome anyone. So either contact Luann Haliva or myself, but you should be able to find, that information on the Wayne County website. And if not, you could always call someone there and say, hey, I'm looking for this. And
Cathy
hopefully
Williams.
It won't be hard to find.
Thank you. Cathy Williams is the WUR board member for the Wayne County Council, and we thank you for being on the program today to talk about this very important topic. And
Thanks, Michael, for having us. Having me.
Thank you. As we come into the holiday season here, it's a time of giving and giving back, and this is one way that you can do giving back not only in this season but year-round to promote Wayne County as a great place to work, live, and play. We thank you for watching today, and we encourage you to do your part to get involved to make Wayne County a great place to work, live, and play. I'm Michael Swiegart, your host. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next month.